What's up, Samurai? I'm Julian, and this is All In. Well, it's finally time. We waited, and were asked just to wait a little longer, a couple of times, but at last, the day is upon us and the waiting can come to an end. Cyberpunk 2077 is out December 10th, and thank goodness, because if there were any more buildup, my head might just explode scanner style. This is a game that just about every gamer I know has been following obsessively. I wouldn't be surprised if you've been tuning into every Night City Wire episode developer CD Projekt Red has been titillating us with. You've probably planned which cyberware body modifications you'll install, the gangs you're going to pick fights with, and whether your style is more kitsch or neo-militarism. But here's the thing. This is All In. This is the show where I'm supposed to do more than scratch the surface of a game like a bullet bouncing off of a lady murder bot. I need to give you a deeper appreciation for whatever game I'm talking about. And at this point, for Cyberpunk, what do I have left to share with you? You probably know everything because you're either a fan of the original tabletop role-playing game created by Mike Pondsmith, or the 2013 trailer piqued your interest, or you got sucked in when you learned the same legendary studio behind The Witcher 3 had a dystopian neon future RPG in the works. Even if somehow you missed all that, the surprise announcement at E3 2019 that Keanu freaking Reeves was a major character in Cyberpunk sent shockwaves throughout the gaming world, and I'm almost certain they shook whatever corner of it you inhabit. It was breathtaking.
You're breathtaking!
So, here I was, staring at a blank page, trying to figure out what more can I give you? And then I realized something. CD Projekt Red has gone to great lengths to tell us about the game itself. They've shown off the high-tech guns and the brutal melee combat and the chromed-out cars. They've demonstrated the very different playstyles that are possible depending on how you build your character, V. We've heard the music and seen Night City's sights. But in all the delicious morsels we've gotten, something is missing. The history of this world. There are vague nods and allusions, but nothing explicit about what brought us to this dark future. For me to feel comfortable stepping into V's skin, or more accurately peeling it off, I need to know how we got to Pondsmith's 2077. I need to learn this world's raison d'etre. I've had less anxiety over moving to actual big cities than I have about starting a life in Night City, because its foundation is built on this mountain of lore. So, if you're like me, I've put together an incomplete and in no way definitive primer on the events leading up to Cyberpunk 2077. Allow me to be your alternate history teacher. Pondsmith's timeline splits from ours in 1990, when the CIA, FBI, NSA, and DEA form the Gang of Four and silently take over the US government. Under the guise of a war against drugs and communism, the Gang of Four start an imperialist conflict in Central America. Wounded soldiers coming home spur the development of cybernetic limbs. In 1994, entrepreneur Richard Knight founds Coronado City after buying up land for cheap in Morro Bay, California. His goal is to create a city free of crime. The same year, the world stock market collapses thanks to US meddling, and by 1996, a quarter of all Americans are homeless. Mad Max-style nomads roam the country, and gangs of cybernetically enhanced boosters are common. The US government suspends the Constitution and declares martial law. The events of this year are known as the Collapse, though opportunistic megacorporations begin to rise from the ashes. In 1998, Richard Knight's dream of a crime-free community dies with him when he's murdered by the mob. In his absence, organized crime takes root, and his now corrupted creation is renamed Night City. It's a dubious way to honor his legacy. Despite some bright spots over the next few years, like the establishment of a lunar settlement and the early days of a worldwide communications network called the Net, the overall trend of the globe becoming a dumpster fire continues. In 2003, the Gang of Four decides the first Central American conflict was so much fun, they'd like to have a second. The war would be their undoing when journalists expose the Gang of Four's involvement. Disgusted, American soldiers desert the military in droves. Among them is a young Robert John Linder, who returns from the war to his home of Night City, replaces his missing left arm with a cybernetic one, and takes on a new moniker, Johnny Silverhand. Now armed with a nasty rebellious streak, Johnny founded the Chrome rock band Samurai to rage against the government and corporate machines. With the Gang of Four's influence gone, megacorporations step in to fill the power vacuum. Inevitably, this leads to multiple corporate wars, the first taking place in 2004, the second in 2007. 2007 is also the year a way of experiencing other people's memories, called brain dancing, is invented by a grad student at my alma mater, UC Santa Cruz. Go Banana Slugs. Finally, we arrive at 2013 and the events upon Smith's original Cyberpunk RPG. In the game, a programmer named Alt Cunningham developed the Soul Killer virus that could copy anyone's mind if they plugged into the net. Japanese megacorporation Arasaka took notice and kidnapped Alt with the goal of creating a lethal version of Soul Killer. But there's one thing Arasaka didn't account for: Alt's boyfriend and legendary rocker boy, Johnny Silverhand. Using a riot he caused with a totally bodacious concert as a distraction, Johnny and a strike team broke into Arasaka's Night City office to rescue Alt. But they were moments too late. Alt's mind was already wiped, and only a copy of her consciousness remains, trapped in Arasaka's mainframe. I know the plot is an odd mix of a dark and gritty tale and a melodramatic 80s rock opera, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't love it. After a third corporate war, the next Cyberpunk game, what's considered the definitive version, takes place in 2020 when a nanotech plague hits Night City. In 2022, the fourth corporate war between Arasaka and the American megacorp Militech breaks out. And who should join the fight but none other than a vengeful Johnny Silverhand. He and a crew of mercs infiltrate Arasaka's headquarters with the goal of destroying their database. But the whole operation goes sideways. A tactical nuke goes off, and Night City is devastated. The Japanese government orders Arasaka out of the US, and America's government abandons Night City. It will take decades for its surviving inhabitants to rebuild. Which brings us, at long last, to 2077. Night City is back in full swing, and with it, the corporations and the crime. Arasaka is a major player once again, but not even a nuclear blast could end Johnny Silverhand's vendetta. Somehow, his digital ghost lives on in a chip inside the head of our player character V. And it's up to you to decide if you trust him or if you think his 64-year quest for vengeance has pushed him over the edge. What will you choose, Samurai? That and so many other things are totally up to you when Cyberpunk 2077 releases on December 10th for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Thanks for watching. I hope this lore dive enhances your enjoyment of Cyberpunk 2077 that much more. And if it does, let me know on Instagram, Twitter, or Twitch, where you can find me at HugItOut.